What up, everybody? We're back. Another episode of getting to know the Tigres fans in the English community. Pretty stoked about today. Got my friend Alexis Maldonado here. How we doing, my friend? How's your morning going?
Good, good. Just excited to be here and just ready to talk about one of in my opinion, the best teams in the Liga MX.
If not the best, brother. If not the best already.
Yes, sir.
Uh, I wanted to, get to know you a little bit, obviously. So we'll talk a lot about Tigres, but I want to know you're from Houston, right? From where
Yes,
I'm from
sir.
as well. And
Yes,
so
sir.
tell me about your story, man. Where are you from? How did you become a Tigres fan?
I am from Monterrey, San Nicolas. Um, well, my whole family is really divided in terms of Tigres and Monterrey. I got lucky enough to, be part of Tigres. There was a point in time where my tío actually tried to convert me into Monterrey, took me to the stadium, even bought me a jersey. But no, I really just my heart was set out for Tigres. My whole family, except my sister, is Tigre. And I came over here when I was about like 6, 7 years old. And I mean, I've been following them since on TV. But it's really all just help with my dad. He's the one that's helped me like connect with the team and like, for it to be a big part of my life.
That's so awesome to hear, bro. And I can relate, man. I was born in Monterrey as well. I came over here when I was 8 to the States, and my dad took me to the game. I didn't have no one convincing me. My dad's brother, my dad's the oldest, so the second brother is a Rayados fan, but he never really tried. My dad was, he just started too early with me, taking me to the games and whatnot. So fell in love just like you did. So that's pretty cool to hear. So you've been in Houston now for a while. I'm
Yeah,
assuming the rest of your life.
yes, sir, for rest. Oh, it's been a while.
Okay, cool. And so do you get together with people here, or like how do you go about game days? Like how do you keep up with the team?
So game days, I really just because I have two other friends. One is an America fan, and the other one's Cruz Azul fan. And we usually just all get together, buy some food, and just watch all the games together.
That's cool. Um, I was gonna say, so have you been to like when when Tigres comes into town? I'm assuming you're there.
Oh yeah, I'm always there. There's not a day I'm not.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, man, talking about the game day, do you have any rituals? I mean, obviously, you mentioned that you get together with your friends, but do you have a jersey that you wear, or is something that you do that's team related the day of the game?
I usually really try to wear the jersey they're wearing. If I have it. If not, same color. Um, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't really have a lot of like traditions or rituals, just the jerseys.
Yeah. What is your favorite jersey, by the way?
That's a hard one. It's really between last year's alternative black one with the stripes on the sleeves or this year's white one.
The Batman jersey.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
it's
super
my
nice.
jersey.
Um, so what do you like, speaking about the Batman jersey, Tigres continues to be a team that continues to grow and rise in terms of popularity. And, obviously, as we sign more players, like it's always going to be a thing that where we're going to be important. So I wanted to talk to you about what do you make of the team and how much it has grown?
A lot has really grown. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, looking back to 2011s above there, I mean, we've made so much progress ever since Tuca came into the club and then signed big players that have helped us grow and get in that map. Um, I say that we've become a team like so big that everybody wants to talk about it, and even if we lose, everybody's excited about it or just aching to say, "Oh, we don't have this, we don't have that." We've become that controversial team, and I feel like it's great.
Yeah, controversial is a great word. I agree with you. I think that nowadays it's easy to hate on us because you're not going to like us that we're buying all these players, and and then you have all these dinosaur journalists who possibly think that we're the reason the national team doesn't do well. Not the fact that they try to find coaches, within 2, 3 weeks, as
Yeah.
people get pressured. And so I think that overall it's a good feeling to know that, like, whether it's good because of victories or bad because of a loss, or like a headline that has to do with maybe Piojo doing a
Yeah.
lineup that shouldn't have happened, or an illegal lineup. It gives a good topic of discussion, because you can fight the extremes of both sides, whether you
Yeah.
like them or not like them. So that's a great point you made there. What about, like, do you feel that you are connected more to the team as you gotten older, especially living in Houston, and them coming here? Like, what do you think about that, and like their efforts to continue to help grow the brand, especially here in the States?
Oh, definitely. I've grown as the more I get older, the more I love this team more, the more I understand. Um, as I was growing up, I mean, I did watch the games, but sometimes I didn't pay too much attention to it. But I know I liked the team. And just as the years went by and as I came over here, I kept watching the games more and more by myself. And I mean, I just couldn't stop watching them. I couldn't keep my eye off of them. That's the only thing I could watch for 2 hours straight without like getting on my phone or doing anything else.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and I just grown to love this team so much, and like it's been great. And I really just have to thank my dad for that because he's the one that's pushed me to, watch the team and love it.
Hell yeah. When did you start watching Tigres that you remember? Like, what players, can you name me, maybe favorite player at the time, or your favorite player of all time?
Favorite player of all time. Well, I mean, I started watching Tigre seriously like around 2013, 2014. Um, and I mean, I don't know if players have gone, came. I don't want to be basic and just pick Guiñac or Nahuel. Um, Lucas Lobos is really up there. Gaitan is really up there. I really couldn't pick if I'm being honest with you.
So, you said you started becoming a serious fan around 2013, 2014. So we already had won the championship after 29 years with Lucas Lobos and Mancilla.
Yeah.
And so those are the years that we were still fighting, like we were still good and going. We lost the final against America in 2014, and then we got several semifinals eliminated in between 2012 and 2013. So watching that, you came in right at the time where, you started watching it a lot more, being more serious with it, where the team was taking even more serious approach besides the 2010 renovation of squad, and, with Tuca arriving. So what do you think of all that? Like, what do you think about Tigres being able to buy all these players and make up these teams to compete for championships? Do you like that model of competition?
I mean, I'm glad, everybody has a method, Pachuca has their cantera, America has their, how would I say, their history. Everybody, like certain players would want to go to America just because of their history. But I mean, we have money, and I mean, it's thankfully we do. Um, and we've gotten to grow, make history, fight for championships, and that's what is starting to attract players too, not just money, the fact that we're starting to become contenders.
Yeah, and I think that most of the players that arrive in the past like mentioned that. But the nice salary, and
Oh yeah,
being in Monterrey definitely helps.
yeah, it's hard
But
to miss out on that.
um, can you talk to me about maybe your favorite moment so far as a fan with the team?
I mean, there would be so many. Like you mean a favorite memory?
Yeah, memory moment, like, it could be a championship, it can be the way that, anything that it's in your head that it's like, this is probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm a Tigres fan.
Um, I would say, going back 2015, I remember this game so much. Apertura, it was just when Iñak, Jürgen Damm, everybody came, and it was a game versus Querétaro. It ended up 5-1. I think we made like 4 goals in less than 15 minutes. And I remember watching that game on my toes. I was so excited. The goals were falling, the team was coming together, these new signings looked amazing. And that's when I thought, like, wow, like this team has grown so much.
Yeah, they were flying when
Oh
they
yeah.
first arrived. Gignac was in his prime. And then you had quick wingers with Aquino and Jurgen Damm.
Yeah.
That's what set the trend, man. I think that was the beginning of a lot of amazing things starting to happen. Um, so going to the fan experience, you mentioned a little while ago that you go watch them here when they come to Houston. Um, what do you think about El Volcán and the stadium and everything surrounding it now with the current news of like possibly getting a new stadium and like now the governor's involved and like the state of Nuevo Leon's also going to be involved through the governor, obviously. And so, do you like the idea of a new stadium, or do you prefer keeping the mystical, like nostalgic aspect of El Volcán?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the Volcan has its history. The Volcan is always gonna be our home. But we have, I would say I would want a bigger stadium just for the fans because we always fill up our stadiums if it's 90%, 100%. And I feel like if we had more space, we would fill them up even more and people would know that we have the best afición in all of Mexico. And I feel like just a new stadium would be better in terms of the fans.
Yeah, I like I said, I've talked about this so many times, and I'm leaning more towards the new stadium, and just because of the importance of what it means to continue to grow as a fan base and as a team, always striving to get championships. Want to talk a little bit about what did you think about the Tuca era ending and then going into the Piojo era and then now going into the Diego Coca era? Like, what do you make of those transitions? What did you think about, once Tuca left and obviously what did you think about him leaving? Did you like him? And then what you thought about going into Piojo?
I mean, everybody has made their mistakes, I think. Tuca, I love this era. I mean, he got us where we are today. He got us all the spotlights. He got us to be in the team that everybody wants to beat. But sometimes he didn't want to make enough changes. And I feel like his style of play got recognized by every team since we never changed. Um, I mean, and it felt nice to have another manager like Piojo to come in and just change the way we play and make us more offensive. But maybe we didn't know what we wanted in terms of when Piojo came because after that, I mean, we were blinded by the goals maybe. Um, and he started making a lot of dumb decisions in terms of when Quiñones was acting up and he still played him, or that false lineup. Oh my God, that day was horrible. I was so excited over that comeback, and then when I found that out, it broke my heart. And right now, the Coca era, I mean, we're at a good start right now. I mean, there is some questionable things like Cordova. I really would like him to play. Um, but right now we're off to a good start. And I mean, I have pretty much no complaints except that.
Did you agree with Florian Thauvin being the man that was chosen to leave?
I mean, Nico Ibanez, we signed Nico Ibanez. I feel like we would have used another winger to provide those assists for them instead of another striker. So I would have really just preferred Nico to leave
Yeah.
instead of Duvan.
Okay. Um, and then obviously we got Diego Lainez. So what do you think about his arrival? Do you think he's going to succeed at the club?
I mean, his first minutes were looking that way. I mean, he shot up my expectations of how he was gonna do. I thought he was gonna do like okay, touch the ball a couple of times, send in one or two crosses, but not really contribute a lot since he hasn't played for so long. But he exceeded my expectations. I mean, he got the ball, he fought for it, he won those one-on-ones. I mean, he even had a shot off, a really clear shot off, which was really exciting. So I mean, I really hope that he does good, and I really feel like he is.
Yeah, and I think he would help with the. I think there's like I don't know if it's like a. So far, every player that has been brought back, I think from Europe in their first season, we've won a championship, and
Yeah,
so I'm hoping this is continues the case with Diego Lainez. But I think one of the things that you talked about with Piojo, when I was asking you about the transitions, and you said that maybe they didn't know what they really wanted with him. So now that we have Diego Coca, do you see the future being planned better?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he isn't an explosive manager in terms of, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. He really plans his stuff out and plans for the future. He's really technical with his stuff. He's not really, how would I say, he's not egotistic like Piojo. Coca just focuses on the team, and I'm ready to see what he does with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hopefully, it ends with a championship. But there's talks about him being the next Mexico manager as well. So we'll see how that unfolds, and what's best for the club. If he has to leave, it's better to leave now than later. Once the team is getting going even more. So I wanted to dive into a little bit of your favorite players. So I was wondering if you can provide in a starting 11 for Tigres that you have all time.
Yeah, I was really thinking about this. I have a lot in mind, but okay. So goalkeeper, I mean, we've had a lot in our time. But you can't really top out Nahuel. He's el arquero who's won the most championships in Tigres. I mean, he's done so much, so much for us. Um, he's amazing. I'm not gonna say he's won us championships thanks to him, and I mean, I'm glad to have him there. So I mean, starting 11, I would have him at goalkeeper. Two center backs, I've really gone through a good amount. Juninho, Ayala, I remember Botacleti, so many, so many. But my two center backs would have to be Botacleti and Juninho. I
Okay.
mean, Botacleti was really just important for us to win our first championship. I believe so. And I mean, he was a big part of Tigres. He even stayed
Yeah,
and coached the femenil team. I mean, he has a big history here. And Juninho, I mean, he's a center back who can shoot, take free kicks, penalties, I mean, and defend like a god. He would have to be there. And I mean, it was so sad when he retired, but he's right there in the history books with Tigres, and
of
he would have
course.
that would be my two center backs. For my wing backs, I would have to choose Torres Nilo for my left back and my right back. There was a lot, but I would have to choose Israel Jimenez on that one. Um, I would have two mids, and I would put Thomas Boy and Lucas Lobos as my two mids.
Wow,
Um,
I like that. I like that aggressiveness.
yeah. I mean, I was fortunate enough to watch Lucas Lobos. I mean, he was a magician. I You can't really describe him anywhere else. Thomas Boy, I really couldn't watch him, but I've seen highlights, I've seen his history, and I mean, I wanna state that. I mean, I like the aggressive play of Tigres, so I would choose an aggressive lineup.
Yeah, no, I like that, man. And Tomas Boy, obviously, I didn't see as well either, but everything that people talked about, and Lou has, him and I have shared stories, and stories that I've shared with my father, and he was, considered behind Hugo Sanchez the best player, in his era. So
Yeah,
I think that's a great start to the lineup, you guys. So then you got, four more players. You
yeah,
got your
four
wait.
more. I mean, the two left in the midfield would have to be Damian Alvarez and Walter Gaitan.
Okay.
I mean, Damian was such a he was a pacey player. Diego Lainez reminds me a lot of Damian Alvarez. I mean, he was small, but he got those crosses in. He was fast. No other defender could react to him. And Walter Gaitan, I mean, what else is to say about him? He was such an amazing Tigres player, scored when we needed to, and I mean, what else can you say about that? And my two strikers, I would have two strikers, and obviously one would be Gignac. I mean, a historic player in Tigres, our top goal scorer almost by far. And my second striker would be I forgot how to say his name.
Barbadillo.
Barbadillo. Yeah, he
Man, I like that lineup, dude. I like that lineup. That's probably one of the better lineups I've heard in a while. And that attributes to historical players
oh
and
yeah.
very talented players. So I like that lineup a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
and our honorable mentions, obviously, Aquino. I feel like Chaka was a big part, but I'm not too sure about that. But those two, I really had to choose from.
cool. Yeah, it sounds like we get some dubs with that team.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so wanted just to like, as I'm concluding it, this episode, wanted to talk to you about what do you expect, going into the next few months of Tigres. Obviously, we have the Liga, we have the CONCACAF, and then in the summer we'll have the Leagues Cup. The team has built a very strong squad. So what are your expectations for the next 6 months with all those tournaments, and what are your expectations for the future of Tigres? As like we've talked about all the obliterated by players.
I mean, we have a lot. We have what other teams don't, and that's depth. We have a lot of depth in our team. I feel like we have no excuse to, make it far in each of the championships. Um, when Guignac can't play, we have Nico, and Nico's an extraordinary striker. We have subs for both wings and when it comes to Fidalgo, Luis Quiñones, Diego Lainez, or I'm forgetting one.
Hold on, you said Fidalgo, that's America's player.
Oh yeah. Um, our mid is amazing. We don't really have any discussion about that. We can switch it around however we want. Our defense too. And
The
the only iffy one is our goalkeeper. But he's talented. I even so talented that Pumas wanted him, I feel like, in the
Ortega, yeah.
transfer window. Yeah. But I feel like we should have no excuse to make it far in each of the championships.
So you think out of the three tournaments, how many championships do you expect, or you think that they could win, without being too biased?
So what, it has three tournaments. I feel like at least two of them. Two
Two?
out of three.
Yeah. That I think that's a solid expectation. I think three is asking for a lot, but I
Oh yeah.
think two is feasible. And I think that they have, like you mentioned, the depth and the positionings of like talented positions. So, um, anything else you want to add, my friend? Anything that I've asked this question also. Like, what would you tell a kid who's starting to watch Tigres or has been watching Tigres for a little bit about maybe like what you think about the team, or what you would say to him as of like stick it out with the team because XXX.
No, well, to get ready for the ride, there's a lot of ups and downs. There's obviously gonna be disappointments. There's gonna be moments that just give you straight happiness that will even make you cry. Um, then just to buckle up for the ride, it's a roller coaster, and that I hope he enjoys it. He or she.
Roller coaster of emotions for sure. That's definitely
Yeah.
the definition of a Tigres game.
Oh yeah.
Well, well, thanks, my friend. I appreciate the conversation. It was a pleasure talking to you. I'm excited to have you on and like share a little bit about your experience as a Tigres fan. Hope to stay in touch and continue to get to know you through the team that we love.
No, yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I really appreciated the opportunity. And I hope we could do it again sometime.
Absolutely, my friend. Have a great one. And
How are you
everybody
too?
else, thanks for tuning in.